Hi there, and welcome to the Pip and Pin podcast. My name is Megan Nodecker. I am a knitwear designer and instructor. I teach all about fit and alterations and all sorts of things you can do with garment knitting. And this podcast is basically just about some of the projects that I'm working on right now. So a little show and tell. I don't actually have a big plan for this episode. I haven't filmed one of these in a little while. I am in a new place, not in life, but usually I am at my office at my mom's house. But she's home for the summer, which is great. But that also means that I have lost my office space. So my husband and daughter are out hiking for the day. So I figured I would invite you to my living room and we can talk about some knitting. So like I said, I don't really have a plan for today. I just have the couple of things that I've been working on. I have some really awesome things that I've gotten in the past little while to share with you, and some non-knitting projects that I've been working on as well. So welcome, and let's get started. So I do always like to start with what I'm wearing. This is the Aster tee. It is a pattern that I designed a few years ago. It is just it's a bottom-up little t-shirt. It kind of hits me just at the top of my pants, and is just a boxy drop shoulder, has little cap sleeves. I do really, really like this top, but I didn't for a really long time, and I don't necessarily know why. It's a pattern with me. I finish something like as I'm working on it, I really, really love it. As soon as I finish it, I don't love it. I usually don't like it at all and try and figure out different ways I can change it or different things I can do. Most of the time I just need to let it sit for a little while. I have to take a step back and not interact with it because this is something that I've been working on for months and months and months, right? So I find I just need to give myself some space, and then I come back to it and I really love it. And this is one that's been, I did wear it when I first made it, but this spring it's definitely been in the rotation a lot. It's definitely made a comeback. It is made with sweet fiber yarn. I can't remember the colorway. Something to do with swamp or marshes or something. It's this really lovely dark green. And this is the cashmere merino base. I'm also not sure what that's called. It's been a really long time since I made this. And then the minis, I did an advent calendar from Sweet Fiber years and years ago as well. And these were some of the minis from that advent calendar. I do really love this. The one thing that I do like is the neckline. I don't know. It just just hangs nicely, and probably the cashmere has a lot to do with that. But it's definitely been one that's been in the rotation quite a bit more than even when I first made it. So the Aster tee, I'll make sure I put the link down below for you. As for things that I'm working on, I have been knitting quite a bit. I've been knitting a lot, actually, comparatively, from a couple months ago. I have been knitting a lot. I just have different projects, so it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm making a lot of progress. So I'm going to start with this sweater that you've seen before, which I may or may not have made progress on since last time, but I feel like I have. This is my Rosie Sweater. And it's made with Ancient Arts Lascaux Fine and Knitting for Olive mohair hauled together. I don't necessarily know the colorways, and like I said, I didn't write myself notes today. So I'll make sure I put all that information in the description as usual. Lovely fabric. I've blocked the body, so the body has been blocked. It's also been shoved in a bag for a month. I finished a sleeve, and I don't think I had finished a sleeve last time, but I did finally finish the sleeve. Ferrule in the round in a smaller circumference is not my favorite thing to do, but I only have one more sleeve to go and then I'm done. And I don't think that that's what's holding me back from picking this up and working on it. It's just been hot. It's been warm here. So I know that even when I finish this, I'm gonna love this a lot. It fits so nicely and the drape is so wonderful. It's also mohair, so it's going to be 1,000 degrees. So I'm not super motivated to finish this right now just because we're heading into summer. I know that I'm not going to get a lot of wear of this until probably until next winter. I think even fall is going to be probably too warm. So we'll see when I actually get around to finishing this. I do really love, if you can see, I do have 1x1 rib for the cup, and I made a really long cup. I don't even know what the pattern says exactly. I can't remember, but I did want a nice long cup, and I think this little bubble is going to block out once I block it. So I'm not too worried about that. It has kind of a puff sleeve at the bottom and then this nice long cup. And I finished it with an Italian sewn bind off. So it has the same kind of look as, oh, what's that one, a popular one that everyone uses? Where you do the slip stitches on either side and then you Kitchener it together. It gives the same look as that. It's totally slipping my mind what that is called. I've tried that one on a few different things. It's a little finicky for me, and I would much rather just do it all in one step. So the Italian sewn bind off is a little bit different in that you just sew it. But it does kind of give that same look of seamlessness from all edges. And it's nice. It's super stretchy. As long as you make sure you're watching your tension when you are doing this sewn bind off, like anything sewn, it's going to be as tight as your sewing is. So with this, you really want to just make sure that your stitches, you're not actually pulling your stitches tight. You don't want your stitches to be tight. You want it to be the same tension as your ribbing. It does take some practice, just like anything. But the nice thing about, the awesome thing about knitting is if you make a mistake, if you do it too tight, you can just rip it back and try again. Is a little bit more finicky because it's sewn bind off. Absolutely. And you can see I did run out of yarn as I was doing it. So I did join some more yarn to sew it again. I also did that on the neckband and the bottom as well, because it's all 1x1 ribs. And yeah, I am going to, when I'm actually able to wear this, and I guess when I finish it as well, first I have to finish it, then I get to wear it. But I also have to wait for it to be cold enough. So this is kind of sitting on the back burner. It's also a home project, and we're out and about a lot. Weather's been so nice, so we've been going on tons of walks. We've been going on tons of bike rides. It's light until 9:30, so we go out after dinner. So there's not a lot of sitting at home knitting time, and this is definitely a sitting at home knitting project for me. I wouldn't even bring this to knit nights if I had color work to work on. So it's in stasis right now. Speaking of bike rides, because I did something really cool and I want to talk about it. So we got a new to us vehicle, a little Jeep Liberty, and we got a bike rack for the hitch so that we could take our bikes on adventures. We had a pickup truck for a long time, and so that's what we would use, but we got a bike rack, we set it all up. So we've been taking the bikes out quite a bit because it's fun and new. And what we actually did on Mother's Day is there is a river in the town next to us, the Vedder River, and there's basically a path that goes from one bridge to another bridge and all around. So it's this big loop, and we rode the whole thing. We packed lunches, we packed some snacks, we packed lots of water, of course. It was like the most beautiful day. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't cold. It was absolutely like perfect bike riding weather. And then there's one section, most of it's pretty flat, so it's pretty, we're not super experienced bike riders. So most of it's pretty flat. It was one section that kind of goes up and down. And then, yeah, you get to like go bridge to bridge and all the way around. And the whole thing was about 22 kilometers. And so that's the most I've ever ridden my bike before. It took us probably about, we went at an easy pace and we didn't push it. And we took, we stopped for lunch anytime we saw somewhere pretty or, we wanted to check out. We were not like rushing to do this thing. So it did take us a couple of hours, I'd say 3 or 4. By the end of it, my legs didn't want to do anything anymore. But it was really cool, and it was a really excellent way to spend Mother's Day, even though we had planned the bike ride the week before, completely forgetting that it was Mother's Day entirely. So it just so happened we did this bike ride on Mother's Day. And then my husband, joked. He's like, well, I guess, if you want to change the plan, we can. And it's like, no, I really want to do this. Let's just add one thing. And so we went out for ice cream after our bike ride as well. Yeah, so that was Mother's Day. And that was my biking adventure. So back to knitting, I guess. Okay, to tie in, this is a project that I brought with me on our bike ride. So when we had some stops, I had something to do with my hands, and I do always like to bring a knitting project places. You've seen this. It's changed a lot, but it hasn't looked like it changed a lot. So this is a sock tube that I am hand knitting. There are machines that will make these for you, but I don't have one. So I am just making one big long tube. This yarn is from Midnight Cravings. I don't think they dye this colorway anymore, but I have been making sock tubes and trying to use up some of my stash yarn. This is deep stash from years ago. I have this much left. It doesn't look like a lot, but this will probably add another, I'm going to guess this much is going to get added. No more. There's going to be a lot added from this little ball. Every time with the last tube I made, every time I thought I was getting to the end, it just kept going and going and going and going. So I'm trying not to be too naive about this one. I think it's going to add quite a bit. But the reason I am making sock tubes is in September, I am going to Sherwood Park, Alberta, and I am teaching a class on afterthought everything socks. So essentially, I will teach you how to turn this sock tube into a pair of socks. Realistically, I can make 2 pairs of socks out of this. So I think with this one, I'm going to make 2 pairs, but I'm also going to use it as a demonstration of a couple different ways you can do things. I don't quite know yet, but I do know that I need some sock tubes in order to teach this class. So that's what I'm going to do to get ready for that. And it's also, I do just like always having a pair of socks on the go because they're even afterthought everythings or with the heels and toes and cuffs, they're just so mindless for me that I don't have to think about them anymore. And I can just do them while I'm doing other things, like going on a 20-kilometer bike ride. If you want more information, I'm doing the hometown retreat with the Grocery Girls, which is where I'm going to be teaching this class. And I'll definitely put some more information down below. I believe there are still spots available. I didn't check before I started recording, so don't be too mad at me if it's sold out. But I'm really excited for that one. And then the last knitting project, I don't think you've seen at all. I think this is something brand new. So I am making see, I actually printed out a picture of it. Okay, so I don't have a picture of it, but it is the Cari top by Noelle Knits and Sarah Antopenkoff. And it is here's a schematic. So it's like a tank top, and it has buttons down the front. Uh, in it, she kind of gives two options. There's like a really cute striping option, or you can have it just be one color. So she gives you the information for both of those. What I wanted to do was use up some stash yarn. And I had these 3 colors from, I think I used these 2 kind of a little bit in a project. The purple I don't think I ever used. So I wanted to do something with these 3. And I decided the easiest way to do that in my brain was to just do stripes throughout the whole thing. If you can see in this schematic here, she kind of, for the striping version, she has you do the top in one color and then start the stripes. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to run out of yarn. And as you can see, the gray is there a little bit. But I do have quite a bit of it done. Of course, it's on a super short needle, so it's really hard to actually show. But this is it so far. It doesn't look like much. It looks like it's all bunchy and crazy, but it is working out very nicely. And this yarn is really nice to work with. It's Holst Garn. 2 of them are Coast, which is a wool cotton blend. And what's the other one? Oh, I know the gray was something else. But of course, that's the one I don't have the tag for. Very similar though, like a light summer yarn. Maybe it has some linen in it. Linen and wool, maybe. So this is the striping that I decided on. It uses this even amount of yarn, but the problem I was running into when I was deciding on my stripes is if you look at these colors, the gray and the purple are very similar, and they're very similar in color. They're very similar in value. Even the white, there's not a lot of contrast here. So I didn't want to do like stripe, 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 because I knew that the gray and the purple were going to blend in too much. So I did decide to do 4 rows of purple, 2 rows of white, 4 rows of gray, 2 rows of white, so that you get that little bit of separation. So even though these 2 colors are so similar, the white does kind of break it up a bit so they look different. And it still uses the same amount of yarn between the 3 of the colors, even though the white stripes are smaller. There's still 4. So in each repeat, there's 4 rows of each color. Yarn management. So I have made a couple changes to the pattern. Surprise, surprise. When I was doing my swatch, like I do. All right, so here's my swatch, which has been blocked, which looks a little bit, you can see the yarn has filled out a little bit, evened out a little bit. This is what it's actually going to look like. I got nearly perfect gauge, which doesn't really happen. The only thing is my row gauge was a little bit off. And so what I decided to do is, I can show you the schematic again. The row gauge doesn't really matter for the body. I'm just going to make the body as long as either until I run out of yarn or until I feel like it's long enough. So I'm not too worried about the length of the body at all. But I was a little bit worried about this upper portion here. I didn't want it to be, I think how it was going to work was it was going to be too long if I knit it exactly as the pattern had described. So I needed to figure out how I was going to deal with that. Now, what I decided to do is in the pattern, let's see. What does she actually have you do? So I think all I had to do, yeah. So these increases, you work from the top down. So is some shaping here, and then there's shaping all at the neckline as well, but there is a portion at the top here that you knit straight. So what I did is I looked at the schematic and saw how long this whole yoke section was going to be. And then I looked at how long this straight part was going to be. And I can't necessarily remember if she put it in rows or length, but I knew that I wanted, based on my row gauge and what the schematic said compared to her row gauge and what the schematic said, I'm saying this all wrong. This is what happens when I don't plan. So basically, I had to compare my gauge to her gauge, and then her gauge to the schematic so that I could figure out what my gauge was going to make the schematic be. So I need to figure out how much longer mine was going to be. I think it was something like it was going to end up 2 inches longer than the schematic. So all I had to do really was take out that amount of length right from this top. Right, when I'm working the front, I just had to take out this amount of length, so about 2 inches, and then just start from here. So my actual shaping at the front might be a little bit higher than what the pattern it has listed, but it'll end at about the same point anyways because of the gauge, right? Because my rows were a little bit taller than hers. And then that way, the reason I did it first, the reason why I took it out of the top instead of the bottom, of course, is because of this shaping at the underarm here. I wanted that to stay intact so that I had the proper shaping. I had the proper shaping at the neck. It was just that strap that was going to be a little bit shorter. I also had to think about the back. That was a little easier to do because there wasn't any shaping at the front. So I really just made sure to make it 2 inches shorter as well. And that was really, I was going to say that was the only change that I made, but it's not. For the edging of this top, what she has you do for the arms, I didn't even look at how it's finished for the front bit, honestly, because I just decided I was going to do my own thing. So what she has done for the, what she has written for the armhole finishing is you do it in garter stitch. So you don't have to pick up any stitches, you don't do anything like that. And because in her versions, the entire top is knit in one color, it looks great. It does. It gives it like, it looks like ribbing almost because it's sideways. So there's this little band of garter stitch and then it kind of comes around like that. And that's how that's finished. I didn't want to do that. And the only reason I didn't want to do that is because my whole thing is striped. So I have stripes going all the way down the entire side. If I was to do garter stitch, it wouldn't look as she had intended. It wouldn't look like nice ribbing. And I would have to deal with all these ends. I would have to weave in all these ends very carefully to make sure that they didn't show one at a time. And I would also, what I'm doing is carrying the white yarn. So the purple and the gray, I'm cutting every time. The white, I am carrying up the sides, just making sure that it's not too tight so that it still has some give and none of the yarn actually snaps. So before I started knitting, I needed to decide how I was going to solve this problem before I started knitting it. I knew I didn't want to do the garter stitch because I didn't want to have to be so careful with my ends. What I've decided on is I'm going to do an applied I-cord edge. And And that I think will give it a really nice finish. I'm probably going to end up doing the edges in purple because I have the most of that yarn. So I'm going to do a really nice applied I-cord edge. And then all these ends here can just get tucked away into that I-cord, never to be seen again. I believe, I think in the pattern, she has you do I-cord for the front as well, but I can't be certain. But regardless of what she has you do, I'm going to do that for the front and this as well. Now you might be thinking, but what about the button band? Because there's buttons up the front, which are very cute, and I want to keep those buttons. But there was a project that I saw, because before I start any new project, I like to look through the projects on Ravelry and see kind of what other people did. And one lady, she made it as intended, and then she found that the buttons were kind of gaping a little bit, which buttons always gape on me, like no matter what. Whether it's a store-bought shirt, whether it's knit, like anything, buttons always gape a little bit. So she just sewed it closed, and I thought that was great. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the I-cord and then sew it closed and then just put my buttons on top. I'm not even going to worry about buttonholes. I'm not going to worry about nothing, which seems a little silly, but no, I don't think so. I don't think at all, because I want the look, but I don't need the function. So I'm never going to wear it open. I'm always going to wear it closed. So yeah, I'm just going to sew it. I'm just going to sew it closed and add some little decorative buttons. You know why? Because I am the knitter and I make the rules. So yeah, I guess I really only have to, it's so funny. Oh, I wasn't knitting much. I haven't been knitting much. I have been knitting. I have been knitting a ton. And I've been knitting on this a ton. Like I have a good amount here. And I kind of want it to be like, I've been really liking tops that are just at my hips, maybe a little bit above. So that's probably where this is going to end up. So I'm like probably over halfway there. And this is really nice to knit in the heat. It's cotton and possibly linen, wool blend, fingering weight, really light. Yeah. And so I am very excited to have, and I want this. And I want this now. I want it for summer. So I am motivated to finish this one, which is of course why the big red sweater it's not even in timeout. It's well loved. I'm very much enjoying it, but I'm not going to be able to wear it. And I am going to be able to wear this. So I'm excited about that. All right, so that is all I have for knitting stuff, but I do have more to talk about because I was sent a package. The lovely people at Thread and Maple reached out to me and asked if I wanted to review some of their products. And this isn't something that I normally do. This isn't something I normally plan to do either, but Thread and Maple, they are a company from Montreal. They're based in Montreal. They're women-owned. I've known of them for a really long time. And I couldn't say no. I really like what they do. I think their products are, I was already an admirer of their products. I didn't have any of my own, but I've been to lots of knitting events. I've been to retreats. I've seen them in person. Other people rave about them. So I could not pass this up. Thread and Maple sent me some really cool stuff and wanted me to speak honestly about it. And so I'm going to. And yeah, they do lots of leather goods. That's what they do. They do, let me pull up a thing here. Okay, so I just brought up some information that they sent me about their products. And yeah, like I said, they are from Montreal. They are women-led business, and they work with other people from kind of everywhere. I think all of their pieces are handmade in the Ukraine. in a craft studio, and then they're distributed from Montreal. Their attention to detail is really amazing. Like I see the kinds of products that they have, and they're very, very specific for knitters, which I think is really important when you are investing quite a bit of money into a product like this. It's all leather, vegan leather and cork, so really high quality materials, and all of the design is like incredibly thoughtful. So they have all sorts of like really specific things, knitting bags, lots of accessories, and then probably the thing they're most well known for are their knitting binders. They're like these leather knitting binders where you can keep your needles, and then some of these accessories go with the binders, and just incredible attention to detail. They started by solving their own storage and organization problems. So all of these products are made by knitters to solve specific problems that knitters have, or crocheters as well. But I think mostly knitters. Yeah. I feel like I'm not doing them justice. I'm like looking at their website right now at their products, and they're just like, I should just show you the ones that I have, right? I'm going to show you what they sent me. So this is my living room. Like I said, this is my spot on the couch right behind me here. And generally here is where I keep stuff. So I have project, like, whatever I'm working on, my different projects and things. And so the thing that they sent me that I've honestly been getting a crazy amount of use out of is this bucket. And this is it's made out of rope, and I wonder if you can see it, that's been stitched together. And then they have the details like the leather little tag, and then this leather handle here as well, that's been riveted on. Just really well made, sturdy, and honestly solved a problem that I didn't even really know I had. and it's so funny. After I got this, my husband walked in and he was like, "What? Like, it feels so clean in here." Like, if you could tell, we have a very small space. So my desk is here. My husband's desk / like workshop is there. We have, guitars everywhere. We have lots of instruments. We have piano. We have our, this is where we do all of our living and all of our stuff. So all our stuff lives here. And he kind of noticed that something was different because there wasn't so much stuff everywhere. And it's like, oh, well, because I got this bucket and now I can just put everything in the bucket. And yeah, so now all my projects that I'm like actively working on live in there because that's where I work on projects. Of course, it's not big enough for like a full sweater, but so yeah. And then there was some other stuff. Okay, so this is super cute. I'm really excited to use this, and I can't decide if I'm going to use it for an existing sweater or make something specifically for it, but they're leather elbow patches. Let me take them actually out of this. Okay, so there's 2 of these leather elbow patches that you can sew on a sweater. And I have a sweater that I made last year that I wear all the time. That was like specifically a grandpa sweater that I made to be a grandpa sweater. It has the big collar. It's the Caslow cardigan. And so I might add this to the Caslow cardigan, but then I was like, well, maybe I need to make another Caslow cardigan in a different color. Because the one I have is a little bit lighter. It's like a bright kind of olive green. And then it has some like color work, like a mosaic pattern on the front and back. And I don't think that this dark would really go with it. So I might just make another one in a different color. Very excited about that. Okay, and then this thing's adorable. There is a little mini tape measure, and I do enjoy that it is metal as well. So it's just a self-retracting one. But it is metal, so it's not going to stretch out. Very handy to have in your project bag. Okay. And this thing is the coolest. I'll just show you the things that were in it first that I can put in it. Okay, so there is this guy, darning needle holders. Like, this leather is just super, like, you can tell when leather is like that bonded leather. This is not bonded leather. This is gonna like wear in. I have a purse made out of a leather like this that I've had for 20 years. And it has the most like beautiful patina. So I feel like the more you use these, the better they're gonna look. So they're these darning needle holders. And then these teeny tiny little embroidery scissors, which are very cute. Okay, and then this thing is so cool. It's back here. So this is a little notions pouch or like a stitch marker pouch kind of thing. And so it has a snap in the front. It has a little hanger here so you can like attach it to your project bag. And it also has like things in the back. So I guess you could put like a strap through it or something. I have a feeling this probably can attach in a cool way to one of their binders. I don't know for certain, but I really like that it has this hangy thing. And then you open it up and it like folds out. So it's not just like a little pouch, but it completely folds out. And again, it's a little stiff right now because it's brand new, but the more you use this, like just the more it's going to wear in. It has a little side thing there. And then the whole bottom is magnets. So these just go in and then they don't ever fall out because there's a big magnet on the back. This thing with the darning needles in it also has a magnet on it. So you can put this like in there. These guys can live in there too. And then the scissors can go in there and then it just closes up and you have this like beautiful little thing. And I really love okay. Just some things to say. So I am not one to use unnecessary things or buy things just to buy things. Like when I buy things or when I bring things into my home, I live in a very small space. So it has to be good. And I am always of the mind as well to quality over quantity. I'd rather have like the thing that's going to last me forever than, 10 things that might not be exactly right or are of a lower quality or something like that. Do you need a leather stitch marker holder that, you can attach to your bag and is lovely? No. I also have, like for stitch markers, I have a bag of like vintage makeup pouches that I got at the thrift store for 50 cents that I also love. But having something like this and having, having the little thing, it doesn't make knitting more enjoyable, but it does feel good. Like knitting is something that I have always used as a as a way to de-stress. It's a hobby. Like it started as a hobby for me. It's not necessarily a hobby for me anymore. It is kind of my job, but I still enjoy it the same amount as with any hobby. And having something of such high quality really does add to it. And I am going to preface this. I did get this for free. but I don't think that the value isn't there. Honestly, getting these products, seeing how well they are made, seeing that this is something that is going to last me literally forever. It's never going to break. And it's so functional and so well thought out that there's not a reason to not use it. You know what I mean? There are other things, absolutely. But every time, I've had this for about 3 weeks now, I've had it in all my project bags. I've had it in my bucket that I've been using every day. And every time I do pull it out, it just feels so good. So I guess I just wanted to say, like, I understand that not every, I don't want to go out and buy all the things. That's not who I am. I don't want to get all the things and just have them sit there. I don't have the space for that, and that's just not really who I am either. I know lots of people who do, and that's wonderful. And having that collection of things is great. Personally, this little thing is probably going to replace everything I own because it is perfect. And that is something, like I said, I don't often do these types of reviews. I don't often do things like this, but when a company comes around that does such high quality work, I really value that. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. So that is my review. Everything is impeccable. Everything, the quality of the materials is insane. The feel of everything is it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And they did ask for honest reviews. And that is my honest review. So here it is. And now it's got me thinking because I was going through and organizing some of my drawers yesterday. Oh, don't look at that one. Everything is such a disaster. Know where my knitting needles are. Okay, my knitting needles are here. And I exclusively use Chowgu needles, which I've had for years and years and years as well. And this case, it works. I've had to modify it a little bit because I had oh geez. Yeah, as you can see, every time I open it, one of these wants to fall out. So I've had to modify it a little bit because I have some 4-inch ones, and then I have some 5-inch ones, and then I also have the minis, and then all the cords. So I actually took out, there were stitches here, and I took those out so that I could fit this in here, and it all kind of works. It does. But now I'm thinking, if I am so in love with this little pouch thing, I am considering getting one of the, maybe not the binder because I feel like the binder is too big for what I want, but they have the little inserts for your needles and little needle cases. I'm going to look into it because I got very excited about about it. I guess. Okay, I have a couple more things. It's been a long time, so we're gonna have a little bit of a longer chat today. So the other thing that I have been working on is Sky. And this is a kit, an embroidery kit that I got from, there's a brand new yarn store in Fort Langley called the Woolly Bulldog. And when I went there for the first time, amongst other things, but this was one of the things that I got. And I really, as I have gotten older, I realized that this kind of goes along the same line of like not having enough space for all the things in my life. Um, but with other crafts like knitting, knitting is my number one, always has been. So I have the yarn and the needles and all the tools and all the stuff. Um, I do like doing other things. I like doing embroidery projects for sure. Um, but I don't need to buy all the embroidery stuff. You know, when I do an embroidery project, I like doing one little thing kind of at a time. And you can see by the candle there. Behind the candle, there's a little embroidered thing that I did too from a kit, because it just has everything you need, and then you're done. And so even with like the extra floss, the extra like everything, sometimes I keep the instructions in case I ever do want to do it again, I guess, or somebody does. So I keep the instructions, but I kind of get rid of everything else because then it's just finished. I love kits. And I have really been enjoying this one. I've really kind of only done ones that had you do satin stitch before, and this one has a couple other stitches as well incorporated into it. So that's been fun. And it comes with a like a pre-printed fabric, which is nice as well because then you don't have to like trace it on yourself. And one change that I did make is in the instructions, it says to use 3 strands of floss or like split the strand because embroidery floss is like 3, no, it's 6 in one. And so this told you to split it in half so that you're using 3 strands. I don't love the look of 3 strands, so I did 2 instead. It does mean that I have to like stitch more because obviously 2 strands is going to cover less ground than 3. But everything is working out very nicely. So I'm really excited to finish this. I don't really have a plan for this, but oh, you can't see it. But on the other side of my mantelpiece there, I got a print from this girl who did lino cuts of a raven, and it's just this black and white print of a raven, because that's my husband's favorite bird. And so I think now my goal is to like have a collection of interesting black and white-ish themed birds for a bathroom that we don't. Like, I just think that would be such a neat little theme for bathroom decorations. So now I'm just making birds, I guess. Or maybe maybe I'll find another cool art thing or something and redo one of our bathrooms here. But yeah, I've really been enjoying that as well. And that one kind of lives in just a little basket. I think we were going to throw this away, and I was like, can store more art projects. Last time I talked about an art project that Georgia was going to start working on, and she hasn't started working on it yet because obviously she needs me to work on it with her. So I think we got the fabric for it. We got it washed up. It's all pre-washed. We still have to iron it, and then we can start the sewing. But I think, it's June very soon. She has a couple weeks of school left. She's in band. She's in track. She's in basketball. She's also in guides. So this next month is real busy. We also have a wedding to go to. So I think this project will probably wait until the summer when we actually start going. But we got this fabric from Marketplace. Someone's doing some D-stash, and I think it's Rifle Paper Company. And so the main part is going to be yellow, and then there's going to be some accents in the black, and she is going to be making this little dress. So this we picked up from a flea market or something. Some lady was getting rid of her art supplies, and all of her grandkids grew up and she didn't need this one anymore. So it's never been used, and it is actually like made to learn to sew. So I thought that would be a great project for Georgia. We just haven't quite got to it yet. But 12, I mean, that's about when I started really sewing and learning how to sew. And we did a little bit of sewing. We made some little sachets last year, and she got the hang of it really quickly. So I think this should be a little bit of a challenge because it's, garments are always a little bit different. But she's very excited. And I'm excited too. And then I also got myself a birthday present. And I haven't started this either, but it's another kit. So I'll do it eventually, which is also why I really like kits, because you can just do like one thing at a time and they can just sit there in their little lovely container until you're ready to start. So this is a pre-cut fabric kit for a pillow. And I just thought this design was so interesting. And so I am going to make this one. So it looks almost like a cross stitch, but it's quilted, and it's just a bunch of those little squares sewn together. So the kit came with it came with the binding for the edge, and then it came with did it come with the backing fabric? Maybe. I think so. It came with the backing fabric too. And then it also came with bags and bags and bags of these little tiny pre-cut squares. So I don't have to do any of the cutting, which is great because I don't have a rotary mat anymore. I have a rotary cutter and I have the straight edge, but I don't have a mat. So that's kind of why I decided to go this route. And yeah, I don't know when I'm going to start this. Maybe I'll start it when Georgia's, we can work on our sewing projects together this summer. I'm not too worried about when I'm going to do this. I know I will when the mood strikes. But I really like, I just love how graphic it is. I don't know. And I was going to get something like this color, like the gray with the pink flower, which would have been honestly probably go in my house a little better. But I just really liked how unique this color combo was. So it's like this rusty orange with turquoise. I don't know if it's going to go with anything in my house, but that's what's lovely about having an eclectic house is you just get to do whatever you want. And as long as you like it, it all kind of ends up matching somehow. So like probably once I have this pillow, I might go and pick out like another turquoise pillow or something. Like I'll find something to tie it together, and then it's like new color scheme. Great. And I guess that is what I've been working on for the past few weeks. I know it's been a while since I last filmed an episode. I do have a video that I'm going to be posting soon as well, all about how to alter a sweater pattern or make modifications. Not really necessarily alter it, but a little bit, but how to make some modifications to a sweater. It's one that I had been in the process of designing like late last year, and that's when I finished it, and then I decided that I wasn't going to design it anymore, and then I was debating on whether or not to publish it or not, because at some retreats, like people had seen it and they really liked it and they were asking about the pattern. It's like, I didn't have one and I don't know if I will. So essentially the gist of the video is going to be what is, it's finished. I just have to upload it. It's about how you can make a sweater and like details you can add and things you can change to make a sweater that looks like that sweater. So watch for that. If you are not subscribed already, you should do that. And you can turn on notifications to get notified of any new videos. Do we have anything coming up? I have the retreats in Sherwood Park, the hometown retreat with the grocery girls, coming up in September, and tickets are still for sale for that one, I believe. And then I also, I've been toying around with the idea of a summer knit along because I haven't done a knit along in a really long time. And I just think that would be a really, really fun thing to do together. I know some people are starting summer break now already. I know my sister's kids, their last day was yesterday, because their schedule is a little different than here. And then Georgia, I think, goes until like June 25th. This summer, the weather is starting to brighten up and get warmer here already. And yeah, so I think I'm going to start a summer knit along. So that I will hopefully have ready to go in the next week or two. If you want to have more information about that or know about it, like when it's ready, if you want to join, it's going to be just a free knit along, so you don't have to like buy anything or anything like that. But sign up for our email newsletter, because that is where I will notify everyone when it starts. And that's about it. So thank you so much for joining me. I know it was a bit of a long one today, but I just have lots that I wanted to share. And thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Yeah.